I thought I knew what perimenopause was. I was a nurse. I'd worked with women for 20 years. I'd seen perimenopause listed on intake forms hundreds of times. Hot flashes, irregular periods, the beginning of the end of reproductive life. That was my understanding. And when I started experiencing symptoms in my early 40s, I applied that same framework to myself. My periods changed, my sleep deteriorated, my joints ached in ways they never had. My anxiety, which had never been a significant issue for me, started showing up at 3 a.m. in the form of a racing heart and a mind that wouldn't stop. I went to my doctor. My labs came back normal. I was told this was perimenopause. I was told to wait it out. I'm a registered nurse with 20 years of clinical experience, and I'm completing my functional medicine certification. And it took me years to understand what was actually happening in my body during that transition, and why the standard explanation was giving me about 30% of the real picture. Today, I'm giving you the rest of it. Most women are told that perimenopause begins in their mid to late 40s and lasts for a few years before menopause. That is incomplete. Perimenopause can begin as early as your mid-30s. The average duration is 4 to 10 years, and during that entire window, your hormone levels are not declining in a smooth, predictable slope. They are fluctuating wildly, unpredictably, sometimes spiking higher than they were in your 20s, before crashing lower than you've ever experienced. This is critical to understand because it means that standard hormone tests, taken on any given day, often look normal, while your body is experiencing massive hormonal turbulence behind the scenes. A single estrogen blood draw on a day when your estrogen happened to spike will not tell you that your progesterone has been chronically low for 2 years. The hormones may be fine on that Tuesday. The pattern over time is what's dysregulated, and a single snapshot doesn't show you the pattern. When I ask women what they associate with perimenopause, they say hot flashes, night sweats, irregular periods. Those are real symptoms, but they are 3 of about 40. 1. Anxiety that appears out of nowhere, particularly 3 a.m. wake-ups with a racing heart. This is driven by the progesterone drop, your calming GABA enhancing hormone. 2. Joint pain and morning stiffness. Estrogen is profoundly anti-inflammatory. As it trends downward, inflammatory signaling in the joints increases. 3. Brain fog and word-finding difficulty. Estrogen is neuroprotective. When it becomes erratic, cognitive sharpness follows. This is real, measurable, and reversible. 4. Heart palpitations. Estrogen helps regulate electrical conduction in the heart. Fluctuating estrogen can cause irregular heartbeats, particularly at night. 5. Digestive changes. Both estrogen and progesterone directly affect gut motility. As they shift, bloating, constipation, and new food sensitivities often appear. 6. Skin and hair changes. Thinning hair, dry skin. These are driven by declining estrogen's effect on collagen production. 7. Worsening PMS. Counterintuitively, perimenopause often begins with more severe PMS, not less. The progesterone-estrogen imbalance intensifies. 8. Fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. The hormonal disruption interferes with sleep architecture at the deepest level. You can spend 8 hours in bed and wake up depleted. If you recognized yourself in 3 or more of those, you were not imagining it. And if you were told those symptoms were unrelated, they are not. To understand why perimenopause produces so many symptoms, you need to understand the relationship between estrogen and progesterone. They balance each other. In a normal reproductive cycle, estrogen rises first, then progesterone rises after ovulation. If pregnancy doesn't occur, both fall and your period begins. In perimenopause, ovulation becomes irregular. And here's the critical point. Progesterone is only produced after ovulation. No ovulation, no progesterone. Meanwhile, estrogen is still being produced, fluctuating, sometimes higher than normal. What you're left with is a state of estrogen dominance. And estrogen dominance creates a very specific symptom cluster: anxiety, weight gain, heavy or irregular periods, fluid retention, and fatigue all at once. Now add to this cortisol. Chronic stress elevates cortisol. Cortisol competes with progesterone for the same receptors. High cortisol further depletes the already limited progesterone signal. This is why the stressed, fatigued, anxious woman over 40 with normal labs is often caught in a triangle of low progesterone, cortisol dominance, and erratic estrogen. Here is the piece of the perimenopause puzzle that changed everything for me. Your gut microbiome directly regulates your estrogen levels. There is a specific collection of gut bacteria called the estrobolome. When healthy, these bacteria process estrogen efficiently, marking it for excretion or return. When your gut microbiome is disrupted, an enzyme called beta-glucuronidase becomes overactive. This enzyme reactivates estrogen already marked for excretion and sends it back into circulation. The result, more circulating estrogen, more estrogen dominance, worsening perimenopause symptoms without any change in the ovaries themselves. This is why healing the gut is not optional. It is foundational. Specifically, reducing beta-glucuronidase activity through dietary fiber, particularly cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli directly reduce estrogen recirculation. Calcium D-glucarate supplementation inhibits the enzyme directly. These are supported by peer-reviewed research. There's another connection, because it is one of the most common reasons perimenopause goes unrecognized. Perimenopause and hypothyroidism produce nearly identical symptom profiles. Fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, hair thinning. The same list, both conditions, and they frequently co-occur because estrogen fluctuation directly affects thyroid function. Estrogen increases thyroid-binding globulin. More thyroid hormone gets bound and becomes inactive. Your TSH may look normal, but the amount of active thyroid hormone available to your cells decreases. This is why free T3 is the critical marker that most thyroid panels omit. A normal TSH with a low normal free T3 in a perimenopausal woman is not a normal thyroid. It is under hormonal suppression. I want to offer you a completely different frame for what perimenopause is. We have been taught that perimenopause is your body running out of something, declining, failing. That is not what is happening. Perimenopause is a transition, the most complex hormonal recalibration your body has undergone since puberty. And like puberty, it is inherently turbulent. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is doing it in a modern environment that makes the transition far harder than it needs to be. The goal is not to replace what you're losing. The goal is to reduce the friction of the transition. And that is an entirely different clinical objective. Here are the 4 lab markers you need. 1. Progesterone, timed correctly. It must be drawn on day 21 of your cycle. That's the number that tells you whether ovulation actually occurred. 2. Free estradiol, not total estrogen. The free fraction is what's biologically active. Ask specifically for free estradiol. 3. Free T3 alongside TSH. As we discussed, TSH alone is insufficient. Free T3 tells you what thyroid hormone is actually available to your cells. 4. Fasting insulin. Insulin resistance is both a driver and a consequence. Knowing your fasting insulin, with optimal being 2 to 5, tells you if this secondary driver is contributing. Take a screenshot, bring this list to your next appointment, and if your provider isn't willing to run them, consider a provider with a functional medicine lens. This is the protocol. First, gut healing, increase dietary fiber, reduce ultra-processed foods, consider probiotics with L-reuteri and B. longum. Second, cortisol regulation. As long as cortisol is high, progesterone will remain suppressed. The cortisol reset protocol I described earlier, light discipline, magnesium, ashwagandha, is foundational. Third, blood sugar stabilization. Protein at every meal. Never skip breakfast. Avoid the blood sugar spikes that drive insulin elevation. This change often produces noticeable improvement within 2 weeks. Fourth, sleep architecture protection. Progesterone is produced primarily at night. Every night of disrupted sleep worsens progesterone deficiency. My sleep protocol is specifically relevant here. Fifth, targeted herbal support. Vitex, chasteberry, has meaningful evidence for supporting progesterone. Maca root supports overall balance. These are adjuncts, not replacements. When I applied this framework to myself, the gut healing, the cortisol regulation, the sleep protection, my experience of the transition changed fundamentally, not overnight, but within 8 weeks. The 3 a.m. anxiety resolved, the joint aching diminished, the brain fog lifted. I was not fighting perimenopause, I was reducing the friction of it. You deserve that same reduction in friction, and now you have the clinical framework to begin creating it. The healing blueprint. My 8-week holistic wellness program walks through every phase of this protocol in sequence. Link in the description. And watch the cortisol video next. It connects directly to what we covered in Chapter 4. That link is right here. I'm Anastasia, 20 years as a registered nurse. I'll see you in the next one.